I know I've been trading before, but I was not really trading, I was more gambling. It's increasing the probability and lowering the risk of the trade. It's really important to make the right decisions under pressure.
You still can experience FOMO, you still can have anxiety. No one's perfect, including myself. Love the certificate behind you, by the way.
Your emotional management is so much better. I've never missed one single day. The management of your own emotional intelligence is getting so much better, especially after Rewired.
You've done it, you've done everything you need to do, and you've passed and you got to the next stage.
Always all in on the things that I do.
Roderick, let's get into your journey.
It's been one of the best journeys of my life.
To gain experience in the market. Grateful to be in this position.
9 trades back to back gone, and then that shattered my confidence completely.
You really want to believe something.
There's been some highs, there's been some lows.
I wasn't good at maths, I failed it at college.
I wanted to be a full-time trader by the end of the year.
This is actually possible.
Trading.
All of that euphoric feeling.
You can't stop my trading.
It's just made me a much better trader overall.
Welcome back to another Inside the Mind podcast. Right, Roderick, so before everybody learns about your story and how you became a portfolio asset manager, I want to really dive into some of these trades that you took on the fund. Mm-hmm. And I think there's one in particular that I want to go over, which is a break even that I think will be very valuable. But first up, let's start with a win, right? There's a Kiwi Yen trade here, which is literally Falcon 101. And there's so much about this that most people would just go straight over their heads. Talk us through this position on how you got involved and why you was looking at this.
Well, first of all, it's how you're saying it right. It's Falcon 101. So you have this ascending 1, 2, 3, the bigger one. Mm-hmm. And within that, you have a smaller expanding 1, 2, 3. So a pattern within a pattern, not the same pattern, but it just higher the probability of the trade. Combined with the hook point, which we have learned in the new AFT content. So the hook points are very, very valuable if you know how to trade them. And just overall, it was a really good 1, 2, 3 within a 1, 2, 3. And the last leg within expanding is, I think, something that a lot of people can be caught off by because it was pretty impulsive if you're looking at it on the 1 hour, which also increases the risk a little bit of the trade. And you can go risk entry on an entry like on a setup like this. Mm-hmm. But in my personal preference, because the ascending was pretty large and I don't really take risk entries on the expanding, I waited for a small consolidation after the 1 hour pin bar, which is also a red one. So that's increasing the probability and lowering the risk of the trade again. So if you can go to the 15, I think there's a small impulse.
Yeah, so let's get to this trade. Yeah, so this was really nice. I think you make a great point about people can get put off on that last leg, but it has context behind it. So you was waiting for a rejection here, right?
Yeah, I was waiting for a rejection, and because there was an internal 1, 2, 3, the rejection doesn't have to be that good, you know. Mm-hmm. If it's just the last leg on the ascending 1, 2, 3 on a higher time frame, you want a bit more conviction at your side. But this is already had a 1, 2, 3 within, so a small push down on the 15 was enough for me to go to the 5 and use an AFT entry on this this type of entry.
Was it up here that you got involved?
Yeah, it was a little bit higher.
Yeah, so if we just go to the 5 so we can see. Yeah, I think I see. Yeah, nice.
And yes. I just took the flag over there.
This one here, yeah.
Yeah, I took that one.
Yeah, nice. So this was like, so you're 1 hour ahead of the UK.
Yeah, I'm 1 hour ahead.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so nice. So that I like that because this is again AFT, just so simple. You would easily miss that trade. Would this be a trade that you would have? How would you approach this? Let's say that you hadn't had AFT in this scenario, because again, you could go risk entry, you could take it on the 1 hour. There's multiple ways to take it, but just being able to see that little 5 minute, would that be something that you noticed previously before AFT? Did you ever see anything like that, just out of curiosity?
No, not really, because I'm a really good listener, and we only knew the 50-minute as a refinement time frame, and I just stick with that because I think it's very important for the students in the community, and also we would try to join the community, that you listen to the coaches. You know, they have the experience, they have done what you want to do. So if they say to you, just use the 50-minute, I just use the 50-minute. I'm not going to fill it on the 5, unless they say it's possible to do so. So I just used the 15 just to use the 15 if there was no AFT in that trade.
Nice. That was good. That was a trick question and you passed.
Oh, okay. Very nice. But I think when you go to the 15 again, there was also a 50-minute entry.
Yes.
Only the flag will be a little bit more developed, which is also a good thing because of the ATB movement on the impasse. So
yes,
you could have been entered this on the 1 hour, 50 minutes, or 5. Yeah,
well,
great trade.
That's the beauty of it. When you can, this is where someone will see an AFT entry and think, oh, only when I'm advanced I can get those entries. The reality is there's normally lots of entries. Like you could take it on the 1 hour. You could have taken it on the first rejection. That might be your style, maybe not. You could have taken it on the second one, the third one. Definitely after we saw that candle shape, you could have just taken it as just on the break. Very simple. The consolidation on the lower time frame just assists ever so further. How are you finding these hook points, by the way? Is this giving you any more clarity in positions? Is it something you observed or maybe even saw previously?
Yeah, it was something I was observing before AFT came out, because when you are forecasting every single day and you are really intentional when you're looking at a chart, just not scrolling over it while you are eating or doing something else, just really intentional with the charts, you notice things like that. But I had to refocus myself a little bit because I didn't know exactly which hook points were great and which one I could have neglected more. So it was just add a little addition to my own trading style. But when you know how to use them, they are very profitable and they can help you a lot when deciding how to filter your watch list or what to do on your daily watch list. Because if a 1-3 like this is combined with a hook point, it has a greater probability of playing out than without a hook point. So yeah, it's really helpful. And I think it helps me a lot with my precision in trades as well on the lower time frame.
Yeah, I'm finding that it's becoming very, very good for precision for a lot of people, especially when you become more experienced and you know what your style of getting involved in these trades. You know, people are going to have different preferences as to what type of trades they take. That's normal. It's normal for me, Abdu, Ibi, yourself. No one's going to take the exact same trades. We're still following the same plan as the overall thesis of the market, but you might just prefer, like some people don't take reversals. That's okay. If you didn't ever want to take a reversal, that's fine. You still make money. You know, you can just take continuations. You just have to be very clear on what is your game plan and what you feel great about testing and actually doing. So this was really, really solid. I want to just shift over to this break even real quick. So this was a QEN trade as well, I believe. Yeah,
QEN provides the goods.
Yeah. So talk us through this one, because this would be one that maybe someone just disregards, right? Because this was a break even. You might think, look, didn't make any money, didn't lose any money. We'll just kind of leave it. However, as you know, you still have to look at the quality of the trades. Like, what potential did the trade have? Was there anything particular that you liked about this one?
Yeah, I think this is a very good example, as you said, of a trade that was perfectly out of my plan, but just didn't commit as QEN did the previous one. But yeah, it was just a 3-touch flag, typical Falcon pattern. And I used all the rules out of my plan. Maybe other people would have entered it a little bit different. But for me, this is exactly how I would enter trade. And there was nothing wrong with it. So just I was a little bit late with this trade. I remember it. And I entered it a candle later than normal. But
right.
Yeah, price was still hanging around my preferred entry. So yeah, you can take the entry 15 minutes later, no problem with that.
Yeah, nice. So this one had tons of potential, just happened to be a break even. When you've been, of course, on your road to consistency, and I think this is where a lot of traders struggle, how did you take things like this where, I don't know, for example, you took a break even, then it ran on to go 7%, right? It happens to every trader. Or you took a break even and then you just disregarded it. Did you always intentionally look at these trades and go, right, I understand that this is the type of trade, if I consistently take, is going to bank profit, so I'm not going to take the break even personally, basically? Did that come easy to you?
I don't want to say it comes easy to me, but I really understand it, because you have said it so many times, Ibi has said it so many times, and Abdu as well. So I really understand that it's not personal to me, but it's not. I think something that's really misregarded by a lot of people is we are not robots when we are getting better, right? So the emotions doesn't disappear, you just handle it better. And I think it's a slippery slope to think that your emotions are going to disappear with time, because it's not. I can still look at the charts and have FOMO or have anxiety or think, just have a messy mind in that part. But yeah, the management of your own emotional intelligence is getting so much better, especially after Rewired. Yeah, I think that's the biggest difference. Just your emotional management is so much better, especially after 3 years. Like I am in the community for 3 years now, a little bit more. And if you're every day thinking about your own mental state, your thoughts, your flow zone, yeah, there's not really any other way than to progress. So
yeah, I love that. But before we get into the Rewired part and how you've kind of utilized that, because I'm sure a lot of students will be, interested how you've kind of navigated through that. As an example of what you said, you still can experience FOMO, you still can have anxiety. No one's perfect, including myself. As a prime example, leading to your trade, this is a mistrade for me, right? But you caught this position. I believe Ibby caught this position as well. Many people in the community did. I didn't look at that position and then go, I'm a robot. I'm happy I missed out on the percentage. I'm still going to have some level of emotion. It's just, I just won't dwell on it. That's what I've learned over the years. I just won't look at that position and go, it won't ruin my whole day. I just might be slightly bothered about it for about 1 minute. I'm like, right, okay, move on to next trade. That's it. But the duration is other traders, it'll ruin their whole day. They'll then take 3 losses. And they don't understand that their emotional state is what messes them up, not the fact that they missed this trade. But let's break this one down, because again, this is one that could have gone under the radar for a lot of people. So we was all looking at euro dollar. What made this trade for you? How was you looking to break this down?
Yeah, so on the higher time frame, we are in a state of continuation, and we have the ray line, the lowest ray line on your screen is our first target on the higher time frame for possible reversal. And on the lower time frames, it was not really your clear 1, 2, 3, because price was messing around for a couple of weeks, just a little bit hovering. But if you go to the 4 hour, please, for me.
4 hour, yep.
Yeah, you have already evolved the structure, but I had it like ascending, a little bit subjective first high.
All right, so let's bring that back to here. So did you have this as like somewhere around here, like a radar?
Yeah, I had an ascending channel from a little bit lower, but it was a little bit of a subjective high. So
somewhere around here, roughly.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
yes,
I see what you mean. And then you had the ray line in here, so almost like a channel.
Yeah, like an override of the structure.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
and then
nice.
The trade makes a lot of sense if you see it on a 4 hour like this, especially after the 4 hour bearish candle. Before the flag. So when I was seeing this on the 4 hour, I just went to the 1 hour to filter the trade out even further. And what I really liked with this trade was that you have that small low in the override area. Yes, and that it broke that one impulsively. And after that, it formed the flag. So when that happened, the 50 minutes was good to go for me. So as you can see, I'm breaking the trade down from high time frame to low time frame, and I think that's really important for the people in the community and the people who are listening to this, that you really use that door system, like go to the 4 hour first, then the 1 hour, because I think that a lot of people are way too zoomed in on the 50 minutes and making sense of everything, connecting trend lines to the most ridiculous structures because they're not seeing the 1 hour and 4 hour correctly. So I think that's a really important tip to give to the people in the community, to really use that door system. And as you can see, the 50-minute, it had a clear 1, 2, 3 expanding. And because it was a 50-minute structure, I entered it on the 5 minute. There was a small retrace on the third top of the 5 minute. And with the 10 pip stop loss, you are protected easily above all the trend lines, wicks, everything. So yeah, really simple execution of the trade.
Yeah, this is lovely. Just thoughts on the position, right? Because I know some people would have talked themselves out of it. How did you see this as, let's say, a corrective structure into a correction? This is the most common one. We know this doesn't mean don't take the trade, right? This means understand the risks involved in it. So when you see something like that, do you have a criteria? How do you kind of navigate that through your risk?
For me personally, the risk was already mitigated because it was a 3-touch structure. So with a 2-touch structure, I would have been a little bit more conservative, and maybe I wouldn't have taken the risk entry. But because it's a 3-touch structure, you already have more confirmation from the market, and I just be a little bit more aware in my management. But
yes, So if we started rejecting on this low, for example, and then we retrace here, this would just be maybe a simple break even, and you would have understood why. I like that. I like that thought process that you mentioned about the 2-touch, because that is the correct thought process to understand. The risk is mitigated from the 3-touch. That's the whole point. And I'm glad that your mind went there straight away.
Yeah, and that little hook point on the 5 above, I think some people have talked themselves out of this trade from that little hook point, but yeah, it's on the 5 minutes, so the lower the time frame, the less importance the hook points have. And it was also not really that close, because the structure is, if you go to the hook point, the difference is almost half of the structure. So yeah, I just ignored it.
Exactly. And it's all part of this. It's all part of that structure as well. I think there's a key details. You see how people look at price action and think everything else is easy, it's obvious, but in the moment, to be able to factor those things in and then just execute on that comes with experience and time. Like, you're not an overnight success. You've not been here for 6 months. You've been here for a number of years, right? So you've built the layers of foundation. I can tell that you've listened well. This is a brilliant trade. So this is a go-to one for me. As you know, this would have been, what did you bank on this one in the end? Was this about 10?
No, it was just, it was around 10, but it was a special occasion for me because it was running around 10 and we had a little inflection low on the left. Not really a reversal area, but an inflection one.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And because I was floating around my profit target for the fund and I already completed my trading days, I just went a little bit more aggressive with the management than I normally will do because it was a special occasion. But normally I would have set a profit target on the 90% rule and I would have been tagged out for around 13. I think
nice.
like that, 12 and a half.
Yeah, that's lovely. And you made the right choice, the right tactic. This is where manual close makes sense, right? You've done it, you've done everything you need to do, and you've passed and you got to the next stage.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to understand when you have to be a bit more subjective, because what we were discussing before with how you enter a trade like that, it's really easy to do it afterwards when we're sitting here, but don't forget that it's done when the pressure was on, in the heat of the moment, and it's really important to make the right decisions on the pressure, and it's a skill that's really helpful when you're a trader.
100%.
The most important one.
Thank you for breaking down those positions. I'm sure a lot of people in the community would have seen that, wow, these are trades that I take, right? I've taken positions like this. What they don't realize is some of the key differences that you just don't go on to a 5-loss losing streak because you're in control of your emotional state. Love the certificate behind you, by the way. Got that frame straight away.
Yeah, it was an empty list till I got it. It was just like a reminder for myself why I was doing all the things that I was doing. So
yeah, that's lovely. We'll have a 7-figure one on top soon, I'm sure.
And we will do a new podcast in a 7-figure hoodie.
Oh, definitely. I look forward to it. Well, Roderick, let's get into your journey, right? There's people listening that haven't got no clue about Falcon. They're not always involved. There's lots of students who will naturally want to relate to your journey. Overall, how long have you been in Falcon, and did you know about trading before?
Yeah, I knew about trading before, but I was not really trading. I was more gambling. Right. So I joined Falcon, I think, January 2020. And yeah, just a characteristic of me personally is that I'm always all in on the things that I do. So if it's a new sport or a new game or a new book, I go on with it. And when I joined Falcon in 2020, we didn't have that much content at the time like we have right now, but we still had a foundation series, the quick tips. So there was plenty of content that I need to study. And I went after it like big time. And I completed the foundation series, the quick tips. I just did what you told me to do in that order. And then COVID hit. So I was just getting used to the strategy. And then, uncertain times came. The market went a little bit volatile. And people left the community for some weird reasons. And I don't know really what it was, but it felt good straight away since January. And I never doubted anything about it. So I just went on with it day after day. And after 3 years, it's weird to look back on it and think it's already been 3 years. And to sit here with you is a little bit unreal, to be honest. But yeah, it's also a end product of a lot of discipline every single day. I've never missed one single day since I joined the community of forecasting or doing the routines I needed to do. And I've always taken it serious from the first day. And I think that's a really important thing to cover, because there were a lot of people in the community for maybe 4 years or 3 years, but were not really that committed to it. And for me personally, I was in the community since 2020 and I've committed since 2020. So I think that's what made the difference.
Yeah, I love that. And speaking of that time as well, because interesting time of when you joined, how did you navigate through that? Because it was a strange period that we had, where you have to understand when people don't want to, misery loves company. And when you have a group of people that have not succeeded yet and decide, oh, maybe the strategy's not working, and then they just go from here to there, and you're early on, how did you navigate through the noise and then not get sucked into that? Because a lot of people that did that are still, unfortunately, they've not succeeded. And I knew that, because psychological issues would just follow them anywhere. Trade 5 different strategies, you'll be in the same position. How did you stay strong-headed?
I think it was just looking at you, because I didn't care what other people in the community were doing and how they were trading. I just looked at you and the other coaches at the time, and I just saw they're still making money, besides of the fact how volatile and how unpredictable the market is. They just tweak their edge and they continue to make money. So there's absolutely no reason to quit or to change anything that I'm doing right now. I just have to learn to adapt to this new unpredictable moment in the world. And I just kept my focus. But for me, it's really simple to do that. I don't know. It's a nice characteristic that I have, and I'm not blaming anyone or thinking critically when the facts are there. You're taking winning trades and you're still doing everything right. So the problem lies with me and not with you or the strategy.
I think that's hard for people to swallow in this industry as a whole. Not so much in Falcon, because we got some really strong characters, like in the hundreds. However, as a whole, it's hard to take that level of accountability. Has that been something from your upbringing that you've been able to always look at yourself and say, it's my responsibility if I'm going to win?
Yeah, it's just, I think my upbringing was that I had to figure it out by myself a lot. And when I was doing something, the only one who I can blame was myself in a lot of situations. So I think that helped me a lot to be resourceful and to be self-accountable. I think that's what's my upbringing.
Yeah, I love that. And you've got a key characteristic. All of the people that have scaled up on funded capital, whether it be our in-house fund or on third-party funds, have got 200K, 300K with like FTMO or whoever it is, all are great listeners. Like,
I think that's
and they
important.
mention it as well, as you mention it, like you know it about yourself, that you're able to listen and just follow instructions versus trying to formulate what you think you should do. And I think that is a key characteristic of success, when you actually know how to be guided. There's one thing subscribing to something and saying, right, I'm going to follow this trading education. And there's another thing actually knowing how to learn from people, which is so fascinating to me, because again, I wasn't a natural born teacher. I didn't start trading thinking I'm going to one day create a community. I started learning to trade as 18 because I want to make money and I want to quit my job the same way. But never did I realize that I thought everyone went all in. So when I invested, 5K, I thought, well, if you want to learn to trade, like you put your money where your mouth is and you take full accountability. That came natural for me. But I've realized that not everyone has that, and it can come from upbringing, people around you. How have you now found, you've been in Falcon for like 3 years or so, how have you found the community structure, people you've engaged with? How have you found that as a whole? Have you always had like a good network like Circle, and how have you utilized that?
Well, I'm a pretty introvert person, and I'm really focusing on myself. So I think having an accountability partner, just someone to keep you sharp and vice versa, is really important. But at the same time, I know who I need to listen to. And if I can help someone who is in a bad situation in the community, I will do. But I have very clear on my mind that you, Ibi, and Abdu are the most important persons to listen to in the community. And I think that's also very important, that you know who are you listening to and why are you listening to that person. Because when it's about trading, I'm listening to you and the other coaches. And when I'm looking for mental toughness or something, I'm looking at David Goggins. But I think it's really important to know why you are looking to someone And Mark, are you still there?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh yeah, your screen is freezing, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
it's back.
it's come back now.
Okay, thanks. But if you're looking at David Goggins as an example for mental toughness, it's okay. But I'm also big into gaining muscle in the gym. And if you just look at his approach to training, it's ridiculous for muscle hypertrophy. So it's really important that you know why you are listening to people and see the intention behind the people. Because if I want to learn about food, I go to listen to Huberman. If I want to learn about mental toughness, I'm going to listen to Goggins. And for trading, it's the coach in Falcon, like you. So I think that's really important as well, that you know why you are listening to someone, for which reasons, and that you're not just copying everything a person is doing, because it can also be detrimental for your own personal thing you try to achieve.
100%. And that just comes from you being clear on knowing what you want. Now, what you just broke down would be very black and white and simple that you think most people would understand, yet they don't. So does that come from you just being very clear on, you know what you want? You know what you want out of trading? I mean, talk us through that. What is the plan for you as to what you want? Do you want to trade full time? Do you want to trade and have a business? Do you want to trade and have multiple sources of income? Because usually people that say the things that you're saying, which is spot on, they're very clear on what they want.
Yeah, I think when looking at my why, it's a really normal one, like helping people in the family and stuff. But for me, it's more like a deeper personal one, because when I was 9 years old, my father died, and he had a second heart attack. He survived the first one, but the second one was he did not survive that one. And I always had the thing in my head, like I have a sister. She's 1 year older than me, but she's just not. And I think you can see the same in your surroundings, but not everyone is financial smart. And you can say to them, like, just invest in S&P or something, dollar cost average. It's easy, it's low risk. But they still would say, like, oh, I don't know, it seems risky. It seems like it's not the right thing to do. And I love her, but she's not that financial smart. And I think that it's really important for me as a mission that I look after her the most, because I think that's what my father wanted. And that's my biggest why, to do that. And after that, I think that's the most important one. But I want to be a full-time trader, of course, but not sitting at home all day. So just business diversification, like other asset classes, maybe property, or more niches like gold, watches, wine. I don't know. Just being busy with investing and living a legacy.
Yeah, I love that. That why is very, very strong and very honorable, and I can sense the level of duty that you feel to do that as well, which I fully respect. And I believe that it's that when it's something connected to something deep like that you will do it. You can't stop someone that has something that strong, and I can see that in you, and that's brilliant. And it's very, very clear. You know exactly what you want to do. That diversification is brilliant as well. And knowing that you don't just want to sit in front of a screen. This is why I designed it this way. There's loads of different strategies. I mean, I came amongst all of them. But what I'm so glad that I done is I never got sucked into the noise of like what makes the biggest number. Because I just knew that surely that's not, like, my logical brain thought, surely that's not right. Like if I sat in front of the screen for 8 hours a day, even if I made $1 million a month, like how long could I stay in front of the computer 8 hours a day? Kids, family, travel, that you just can't. So you almost become enslaved to your computer screen. So building something that's flexible, like the way we trade, as you can tell, you might not take a trade for 4 days, 5 days, sometimes a week. You're into fitness, you're into other things. You can map out everything that you want to do. I want to circle it back to what you mentioned earlier about mental toughness and, of course, going through Rewired, Flow Zone, being in the right state of mind. How have you, for someone right now, maybe just got Rewired or they've been going through it for a while, it's really important, and I say this as well, but you're a good listener, so this is why I'm asking this question. Don't go through it like a podcast, because Rewired isn't a podcast. It's difficult to change the way that you think. How have you gone through that?
Yeah, I think when Rewired came out, I just bought it immediately because, as I said earlier, I was all in. So I never doubted anything. I just bought it and I went on with it. And for me, it was the most important thing about the Rewired series. For me, is just thinking about your thoughts all day. Just interrupting yourself when you're thinking negative, when you're thinking in a fixed mindset, just the arrow thoughts all day. You just need to interrupt them as soon as possible. And when you're doing that, things are just starting to click. It just doesn't happen overnight, but if you do it every single day with intention, it's really important that you do it with intention and not when you're feeling like it. It's really important to have discipline and things like that. But yeah, I think the arrow thoughts, that was the most important for me, just to interrupt them.
This is the key thing here. Everybody takes away something different from it. And this is what I always explain to someone. In all of the modules, everyone's going to have a different problem. Say, for example, you really struggle with self-image. Someone who struggles with self-image is going to relate to that module a lot more than something else, where someone might have a lot of things figured out, very assured of themselves, high confidence, no low self-esteem, but there's just something that niggles away, that they have too many negative thoughts and they just don't know how to deal with them. And that negative thought pattern will just lead to revenge trading, all kinds of terrible trades that you could just stop yourself if you knew how to do it. And that's why I love that there's just one little segment, whether it's error thoughts, whether it's the window of opportunity. I mean, I've done it this morning. I have a lot of pressure this week of just work schedule, like more than what I normally would. And then this morning, I had literally 20 seconds where I started thinking about all of that. And straight away, error thought, I was like, this is not a useful thought to me. Calibrated my mind, fine. So I still do it. It's not like you become this person where you have no pressure, no thoughts, no nothing. You just need to learn how to manage them. Getting yourself in the right state of mind to trade, is that something that, have you got like a checklist, any rituals that you do, any habits? Like, is there any non-negotiables that you do every day that you can attribute, right, I know this is going to be good for my mental health?
Yeah, I just have some very strong routines. And I think for me, what was really important is that it's not too complicated, because if I have to do 35 things every morning, like stretching, singing, dancing, walking in the sun, it's just too difficult, So I kept it short and steady. I just wake up. I will drink a lot of water to hydrate, take a cold shower, and then I will do my affirmations. I went to the charts, do my forecast for the day, and then I go to the gym, and that's it. So not really anything complicated, but just a small, steady, really fast, because I think overall it's 30 minutes max every morning. And I also take a little bit of supplements, but nothing crazy. So yeah, that's what's working for me. I don't have to have a lot of different things. And I just have a good routine for, I think, the last year. And I keep it like this.
Yeah, so you stick to that religiously every single day?
Yeah, that's the morning. And throughout the day, my days are always different, because some days I'm working, some days I'm free. So throughout the day, it's more like a mix-up how the day is going, but still every day focusing on the mindset and the flow zone, just checking my flow a couple of hours. And in the evening, I will do another quick market scan to forecast for the next day, because I'm up 5 in the morning normally. And what really helps me is to forecast in the evening and to do a little forecast in the morning. So when I'm going to the charts in the morning, I'm already clear on what I have to see. I don't have to do a whole forecast. I just look what happened in the night. Yeah,
nice. Simple things like that are so effective. Duration of time, right? Would you say on average, how long do you spend on the charts on average on a day? Would it be an hour, less than that?
I think in the morning, the whole morning routine is around 30 to 1 hour, 30 minutes to 1 hour. And I think 20 minutes of that is chart time. And in the evening, it depends on the day. If it was a really impulsive day and I didn't have any trades that I just really scan the market to see, did I miss something? Or so when it's a little bit different every day, but normally I would say 1 hour a day. And then if there's a trade shaping up, I will take it, and it's maybe 5-10 minutes throughout the day. So
nice.
I think 1.5 is high level, but normally 1 hour.
Yeah, it really does depend on, of course, the day and everything like that. But it just goes to show you that even with 30 to 40 minutes an average day, that's literally all you need once you know what you're doing. At the beginning stages, I mean, you're on the charts all day long, you're learning all these things, but eventually the less time you have in front of the charts, the better. Waiting. Money is made when you wait. I know lots of good traders in the community. They take lots of winning trades, but they also take 4 losses in a day. And then I scratch my head thinking, where did you find these trades? It's all emotionally driven. They know they're not good trades, but they can't help themselves but click, click, click. You need to relax.
Yeah, and that's a pattern that I found in myself as well. That if I'm in a busy day and just doing things, my trading is much better than when
100%.
I'm sitting at home the whole day, just watching at that screen. It's just you're gonna get caught in some positions that you truly don't take if you're just busy. So full-time trading, it sounds very nice, but you need to do something else with it, and
100%.
you can trade.
This is what I want, Roderick. This is what I want for the community. This is why we do like the recession workshops, why we build all these things out. Because if you're going to sustain this and you're going to do this for years to come, you'll get burnt out if you just search for positions, and you will find ways. Like, nothing's going to get hit hard as life. There's going to be situations that can happen in your life that you can't really even prepare for, to all of us. And imagine even just from that, if I just took humans as a whole, imagine we had to take, 3 trades a day. Let's say that was our average in Falcon, 3 trades a day. What's the chances over a 10-year period, traumatic things that you can't expect happen in your life? Lots of things happen. Someone could go through a divorce. It doesn't always have to be, like health related, but you could go through a divorce. It could go through anything. But you still, in order for your edge to play out, 3 trades on average a day, there's so much risk involved in that you won't keep that up, that you could go from a competent trader, like you really know your stuff, but something could break you. And then you now have to trade so much. So this is where I thought, right, I need to build a system that if I didn't trade for a week, it wouldn't actually be detrimental. If I missed a trade, there would always be another trade. Always focus on management, always focus on how you can scale up slowly. And that's the funny thing. You've been doing this, 3 years? You've just hit a milestone. And you can start to read, by the end of the year, you could be trading a much, much bigger account, which but then when someone would look at that, there's been many people in 1 year, they got a 400K account and now they're back to 0. So they might get something quickly, but then they're back at 0 again, where you've just stayed the course, listened well, done what you need to do. But now you've got strong foundations, like these trades that we went over earlier. You know how to take them. You can build the high time frame narrative. It's almost difficult for you to unlearn how you see the market. Have you ever had those reflections where you remember what you was like, like 2.5 years ago, how you used to read the charts, and now you've got the competence, the clarity? How does that thought process go for you?
Yeah, I think a small little tip for people listening who are in a pretty negative flow or just have a tough time is just go back to your old trades from a year ago, 2 years ago, and you just see, what was I doing? Every single time. It's just, you're growing so much, and it's not always on the surface. It's a lot under the ground. And maybe you think, oh, this day, not really anything happened, but it's compounds so fast. And I think that's really what I did. I just looked at my old trades and I thought, man, I'm growing fast. And it kept me motivated a lot. And yeah, just looking back to trades, it's the best thing for me to get my flow higher.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Leaning into that, if you was to give advice, let's say you're standing in front of the whole community, which you can have that visual, what would be the advice, like the cold hard truth as to what do you believe people need to do to make it in Falcon and in trading? If you was to say, right, this is what I've done, this is what I see that most people, they don't seem to do, and they need to be doing more of it.
I think it's pretty simple, because you want to be a high level trader in one of the toughest industries in the world. Just act like you are one of the toughest in the world. You can't be expecting anything good to happen if you're just saying to yourself, oh, I'm not feeling that good today. Or, oh yeah, I had a car accident. So you just have to toughen up, and just to be the best of the best, you need to act like the best of the best. I think it's really that simple. And just, it's not about trading only, it's about, and that's the most important thing about trading, it's everything in your life. So if you have sleeping problems, it's gonna depend a lot about your trading. If you eat unhealthy food every single day, how are you going to make good decisions when you're full of complex sugars all day? Just everything has to be on point and dialed in to be the best trader you can be. And I think that's the most important part. Be the best version of yourself in all areas of life. Just that.
Yeah, love that. Everything is connected to everything else. That's it. You listen to it, you do it, you live by it. And I absolutely love that. Seriously, Roderick, incredibly proud of you. And congratulations again on becoming a portfolio asset manager. This is just a small milestone for where, and I mean that respectfully, because of the level of person that you are and the potential that you have. You could be trading much higher figures, and you know that. So the next stage now is just stay grounded, next game plan. How have you felt becoming a portfolio asset manager? Have you found any kind of emotional things where now you're to the next stage? Has anything creeped in, or do you just feel exactly the same?
I thought I would have felt a different way while I will be a portfolio asset manager, but I feel pretty the same. It's just a little bit unreal, but you're visualizing it every single day and you're thinking about it so much that when it happens and it's not happening by fluke, you just think, I deserve it. I do everything I can to be a portfolio asset manager, and my routines are strong. I'm doing it every single day. So, and that's what you say about the self-image. My self-image is very good because I know I'm doing the things that I need to do. It's just really that simple.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I can see that you and I want us to finish this off with this part because I can sense that you do it really well. The visualization part. Is there any techniques that you do? I can see whether you framed it. I can see the other picture in the background. Really, really nice. We know exactly where that is. So what the visualization part, because a lot of people don't do this, right? You would think that more people would. Is that played a big role? Like, do you actively on a regular basis think about, right, this is where I'm going to be, this is what I'm going to look like? Is that like a conscious thought to you?
Yeah, for me, things like printing things out and just looking at photos from example, looking at a Ferrari just really drives me. So, and of course, when I'm doing my goals, I'm really specific with my goals, and knowing your golden number, just simple things like knowing your golden number. I'm just truly amazed how many people in the community still don't know their golden number. And for me, it's just so important to have it. I see it every single day. I just know exactly what I'm working towards. And yeah, I just see it as milestones that I'm just reaching every single time.
Yeah, that's lovely. How close are you to your golden number? Do you know how many doubles that you'll be into yet there?
I think 2 doubles.
2. Yeah, nice. That's very, very achievable. That must feel so close to you. Right, 2 doubles is nothing. You could be there in 3 months, might take 4, might take less, who knows? But it's right there in the grasp. I'm sure you visualize that moment as well. So the game plan for you, let's say you hit your golden number, then what is it? Is that when you hand in your notice? What's the game plan with that?
Yeah, it's just, I think it's the most smart way to do it is to go part-time first and then just quit work completely, to have a little bit of an adaptation. And yeah, just from there, I want to help a lot of people in the community because, yeah, you need to have a standard for, I can help people because I'm in a position to help, and I think that's really important to do. So I will just shift my time from work to, like more community work, so to say.
Yeah, love that. And you've done it the right way. I think a lot of people are trying to do it too quickly because they're eager. Don't get me wrong. I love it. It's a great attitude. This is what built Falcon, this ethos of actually helping people. Remember, we live in a world where no one cares about anyone. So to have such, like-minded people in one environment is truly special and something that should be protected and harnessed, But I think you've done it the right way where you have to selflessly focus on yourself. No one's going to trade your account for you. You've got to look after your family. You have to get to the next level. But then once you do that and you start hitting these increments, you'll realize that life can become very quickly quite empty without having like a deeper purpose. Like once you tick off the milestones, you're like, right, I'm making money now. You'll just get used to it. You're like, well, I deserve this. I've visualized this for years. Like I'm making money, but I still do my same routines. Oh, I've got a nicer car. It's like, yeah, you'll get used to that in a week. Everything you'll get used to. So then it's like, what drives you every day that makes you feel like, right, I'm actually doing something that is going to impact people's lives. And that's this, being able to jump on a call with someone and say, do you know what? I've been here 3 years. Truthfully, your attitude is not great. This is what you need to do. And you might change the course of that person's life by giving them one bit of advice. Yeah, that's a truly powerful thing to affect someone's life that then affects their family and then future generations. So I'm glad you've done it the right way. And yeah, you've really, really leveled up.
Thank you.
Well, Roderick, end of the year, I'm confident we'll see you in Dubai amongst many, many other traders as well. So I'm really looking forward to you ticking off those milestones, hitting those goals, and really thank you for being a true pillar of the community, leading by example and just listening well. It's one of the key things. For those of you that have been listening to the podcast, I really hope you took those things away from it, because it's the commonality. Hundreds and hundreds of funded traders, in-house fund, third-party fund, they're just all great listeners. If you could just become a good listener, I promise you'll scale up so much quicker. Roderick, thank you for your time. Absolute pleasure. I look forward to seeing you again in person real soon.
Yes, will do. Thank you.
Thank you.